Hello and welcome to the Property Unleashed YouTube channel. My name's Mark Fitzgerald and it's fantastic to have you joining me here today. So today what I want to cover is systems to use in your property business, i.e. the things that work in the background so you're not running around having to do all the work yourself. I think it's very, very important when starting out to make sure that you have core systems in place to help you run a successful HMO rent-to-rent business. Even if you've just got HMOs of your own, you're still going to find some serious nuggets and some serious top tips here to be able to help you in your property business. So why do we need systems? Well, you don't want to start out running around like a headless chicken like I did when I started out. So I used to do everything. I used to manually try and do everything that I could possibly do. Why? Because I was trying to keep costs down and I was just trying to learn it all myself. And you don't know what you don't know. So there's certain systems that can be recommended to you, but they don't necessarily always fit the sort of circumstances that you might be in. And I think if you're starting out or you've only got a couple of properties, these systems are very cost effective and will work really, really well in your business. And will just give you a bit of a peace of mind and help you on the way. What we want to do is we want to make sure that you're not struggling, that you're not worried about anything, and also you're not burning yourself out trying to do everything yourself. So accompanying this video, I have a PDF guide that has about what these systems are, a little checklist for you to be able to say that you've gone through and tried them out. Nearly all of them have free trials that you can go and have a look and have a play for yourself and make sure that you check that out. So if you are interested in that, if you check in the show notes, you will be able to click on the link and download yourself this PDF guide. Equally to that, if you're watching or listening to this somewhere else, you can either click on the show notes there, or if they don't have show notes, find me on social media, click on the link in my bio, either on Instagram or on Facebook, and you'll be able to download the copy yourself. If not, if worst case scenario, should I say, just go to www.thepropertyunleashed.com website and you will find the resources on there as well. So let's crack on. Let's go through these resources. Let's give you a bit of peace of mind, shall we? So let's help you set yourself up for success. And look at the first piece of software that you need. If you're having HMOs or even single lets, you need a tenant management software. Now, maybe not so much on single lets, depending on how many you have, but it's still handy to have and it's still cost effective to use this system. I recommend TENANT. It's a Rick Gannon software that he's basically designed with some programmers. It's slick, it works, it's just easy to use. The interface is brilliant, it's not overcomplicated, and it does everything that you possibly need it to do. It does everything on a tin, if I'm honest with you. So if you're issuing out ASTs to tenants, you need to be issuing out a right to rent guide as well. You need to make sure that it's the most accurate or up-to-date right to rent guide. Now they can change this at the drop of the hat. So what old landlords were finding, they print off a lot of these right to rent guides to be able to hand them out with the ASTs, yet some legislation or some form of content in the guide would be changed and they wouldn't know. So if they ever came to actually having to try and evict a tenant, it went to court. If they'd given out the wrong right to rent guide, they were having trouble then issuing the eviction. And we don't want that. We want to be staying compliant and we want to be staying on top of things. So the beauty of TENANT is when you issue a digital AST for somebody to sign either on their phone, tablet or laptop or whatever, which is great as well because it doesn't necessarily mean that you've got to run around with a load of paperwork and print things off. They also get issued a pack. Now in that pack, when you've uploaded your HMO license, your gas certificate, your electrical certificates, all of the compliances that you need, your EPCs and everything will be put into the TENANT system, will be under that property, and this whole pack, along with the AST to be signed, and you guessed it, the most up-to-date right to rent book will be sent to them as well. It's signed that they've said that they've had the pack, it's signed to obviously do the AST, it all comes back to you, you sign it as well. Everything's compliant, everything's legit, as long as obviously you've updated and uploaded the right certificates. So it's a fantastic piece of kit. I have grown a letting agency as well, so we sort of outgrew it with regards to having bank feeds and being able to check rents and stuff like that, because as it stands right now, you can't actually do that in GoTenant. You just have to go into your bank or into your accountancy software and do that yourself. So we needed something a little bit bigger, a little bit more advanced, and a lot more expensive. Don't get me wrong there. GoTenant starts at £20 a month, which absolutely phenomenal. Pay it. Honestly, when you've got tenants, don't do it before you've got tenants. So one of the things I always recommend, and I always teach my students, is we don't want to be paying for things until we need them. We don't want to be paying for tenant management software if it still takes us a month or two to get some deals. So make sure that you're not paying for anything that you don't need to pay for before you need it. There are certain things you will need, and obviously it's a case of going out there, spending the money in the right places. And that's the education that you give out. That's the education I give out, and make sure that my students are doing things as cost effectively as possible. So they're setting up their deals as cost effectively as possible. They're not spending out until they need to spend out, and they're also setting themselves up for success. So if you're interested in that, that's the Rent to Rent Business Builder, a 90-day program. That's another thing that you can have a little look at and see if it's right for you. But make sure you get this tenant management software. As I say, I've looked at Arthur. I've used another software called Alto, which is made by Zoopla. These are very big. These are more for letting agencies. If you want to go down that route, then you can obviously start with that, because then you haven't got to put all your data and all your information from one software to the other. But have it in mind that they are a lot more expensive, and then they're a bit clunky, if I'm quite honest with you. They're not as smooth and as slick and as easy to use as GoTenant. Now, from the lettings business, my rent-to-rent business uses GoTenant, and it'll use it all day long because it just works and it's easy. What you will find with systems is there's no one system that does everything that you could possibly want it to do. So don't try and manufacture one system into everything. Look at what the systems do and manufacture those into your business. Very important. A lot of people want this one system that will do everything. I've looked for it for years. It's not a case. Just find some good core systems that work for you and incorporate their processes into your business, and you'll be a far happier person. It'll be easier to train people, VAs, anybody else coming into your business as you move forward. So just make sure that you don't get too hung up on trying to look for that one system, because trust me, it doesn't exist. And don't even look at trying to build it yourself, because you'll spend hours, it'll cost you a fortune. There's always updates to do. And a very successful entrepreneur who tried to do that gave up in the end and just said he'd spent a fortune on trying to do something like that. Don't recommend it. Just use what's already out there, what works. So the next thing you really want to be thinking about and looking at is maintenance, and a maintenance system, if you like. So there's a company out there called Fixflow, which are a bit of a web-based thing. So if your tenants have any issues, they're not necessarily jumping straight on the phone to you, calling you all the time. They can go on a Fixflow. They can see if they can fix it. Fixflow will have YouTube videos about simple things that maybe a tenant can just sort out themselves. I mean, even as simple as changing a light bulb. You know what I mean? Some people need help doing that, unbelievably. But it'll help you. It'll show them what to do before they actually call you. I also think that you recommend in your house guide that you have what is a major emergency and needs potentially them to call you or whoever it is your maintenance person is, and what isn't, and what can wait till the next day potentially. You know, a boiler breaking down, you need to know about because you need to organise, but it's not as bad as water flooding through the ceiling, a fire, you know, a massive electrical fault or something like that. So sort of these things here are 24/7 call out. These things here, just give us a call the next day and we'll make sure that they get sorted for you when it comes to your maintenance systems. You can also hire a PA, like Moneypenny or a call service, which will answer the calls for you. So you can give that number to your tenants, and then if anybody has a problem, they can call the PA service. The PA service will then either email or let you know that there is an issue. So they're not necessarily calling you all the time. You can of course have a VA to do this as well. And if you have some handymen or you have a company that you use, the VA can then speak to the company, can get things sorted for you in the background. You're not necessarily the one that has to do everything. I've set this up in such a way myself that I don't take any of the calls. There's a major emergency and I need to know about it. Trust me, I will know about it through the systems that we have here. But keep it simple. maybe, if you've got the guidelines out there and you've only got a couple of properties, then it's not too bad. Just try and get yourself a good, decent handyman or woman. Make sure that they're trustworthy. And worst case scenario is have a 24-hour company that maybe will cost you more in the long run. But if you can't get hold of your maintenance people or your plumber or your electrician, this company pretty much does the whole thing and will just send one of their people out, whether it's night or day. It's peace of mind for you. Yes, it might cost you some money to do so, but what is money if you can't have peace of mind and a bit of time freedom? So let's move on to viewings and onboardings and, as a booking system. If you're self-managing, you can pretty much do this through the GoTenant system. So you can put your calendar on there. You can send out application forms. People can book a viewing through your Calendly links in GoTenant, and that works pretty well for you. If you're outsourcing it to somebody else, you can only have one calendar there. So if you have multiple people doing viewings for you or onboardings or anything like that, then you need to look at a system outside of that. 10 to 8 is one that I recommend, which is very good. You can set up for a relatively low cost about 3 or 4 people on that with different calendars. And then if you have a VA or even yourself taking the bookings, they can then see who's allocated, what time's available for when these tenants want to view them. So it's well worth having a little look at that. If you're self-managing and you're doing everything yourself to start with, just use GoTenant. Fantastic piece of kit, and it's easy enough for you to be able to do so. GoTenant will send them a reminder text message that if they don't reply to on the day of the viewing, then it will automatically cancel the viewing, so you're not wasting your time. They have to physically text back to this automated message, and it's just great. As you can see, I'm a big fan of this system, and I do think that it's worth, for anybody starting out in HMOs, it's well worth them getting. So a filing system, you've got certificates, you've got documents, you've got ASTs, you've got your company receipts, you've got a lot of different paperwork coming through your business. An easy platform to use is either Google Docs and have a Google Drive where you have lots of different files. You pay about £4 to £5 a month for having this, and you can store everything in there, and it's all up in the cloud, so you can grab any documents or anything you need. Of course, you can also use Dropbox or Evernote to do a very similar thing. I use Google Docs myself because I have a lot of different files, so accountancy files, obviously property management files, tenant files and things. Very easy to keep it there, very easy to systemize it all, and very cost effective to have everything there. Yes, you can keep a lot of your certificates and things in GoTenant, but I like to have another backup system because you never want to rely on one system housing everything, all the details that you've got, just in case anything happens. Hopefully nothing will happen, but just make sure that you've got a backup. If not, even if it's just having an external hard drive and you record everything there. But obviously with data protection, you need to make sure that it's in a safe place. And lastly, but no means least, I recommend that you have a project management system. Now, you might say, I'm not doing refurbs or I'm not doing anything massive. Why do I need a project management system? I would say simply for your day-to-day tasks in your rent-to-rent or property business. What you will find is there'll be a lot of different things happening. Maintenance people, VAs may need something, tenants might need something, your family might need something, you might need something for yourself. Okay, there's a lot of plates spinning. You can write things down, but it's easily lost. Now, I used to use a software called Trello, which is free. I now use a software called Asana, and the basic package of that is free as well. But both of them there, you can put down your daily tasks of what you want to achieve, and you can basically tick them off as you're going through them. So what I always do is I work in 90-day slots. In fact, I have a 90-day planning masterclass that you're more than welcome to check out and work your way through yourself to try and achieve more in 90 days than most people do in 12 months. But I work in 90-day slots. I've created a system that works for me, and basically I know each week exactly what tasks I need to be doing and achieving to move myself forward. It's all planned out at least a week before. It's all planned out in 90-day slots and then broken down into weekly tasks, into daily tasks. So all I do is I put all of these tasks and where I want to get to and my goals into Asana, and then each day I have it linked to my calendar. I open up my calendar and I just look at what I need to achieve that day, to make sure that I'm hitting my goals, to make sure I'm doing the systems and the things that need doing. So I use Asana for that now because it's a bit more to it, a bit more project management that you can use. The tasks are great. If you have a VA or somebody else working with you, you can bring them in, you can share your calendar, they can share their calendars, you can link up jobs. So there may be something that you've done a viewing, but you want all the paperwork and the TENANT stuff to be done by the VA. You then assign that task to them, give them a deadline. They get a message to say that task is now due and they need to get it sorted, and they will work their way through it. It's a slick and easy to use system, and I definitely recommend that as well. And I always think that you should be looking to hire and outsource jobs in your business as it grows, but make sure that you're documenting all your repetitive tasks as you go. So use systems and softwares as well to be able to record what you're doing, to be able to bullet point what you're doing. Use your Google Docs to store your processes in. And that way then, as you grow and you bring people in to work with you, to help you, you've got processes there and step-by-step guides that you can give them to say, this is what you need to do, boom, 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 off you go. Watch them do it a few times. Make sure that they've got any questions, that you're answering it, and work with these people. We all want to look to get into property and grow successful businesses, but the fun stuff is going out there, getting the deals. The next fun stuff is getting the properties in there, getting the tenants in there, and a lot of this stuff gets overlooked. And this stuff is what will give you overwhelm. It's what will give you burnout if you neglect it. So by just incorporating a few things, as I've said at the beginning of the video, don't start spending money on things that you don't need just yet, but start incorporating some habits, start incorporating some processes, start incorporating some things into your business as you're going. Even if you don't have a deal, if you have not even got a deal yet, but you're sending letters, you're speaking to agents, you're networking, write the processes down. You're posting on social media, write the processes down. The more you can have early on in your business, the better. I didn't have any of this after 12 months of rent to rent when I built up a successful rent to rent business, and I had to play catch up. So I now recommend to people, very importantly, that you don't let that happen to you. I hope this video's helped you today. Again, get the free guides and resources. There's some other stuff there as well. 10-step rent to rent guide, a viewings guide, and a deal analyzing spreadsheet that you can help yourself to. I have a newsletter that goes out each week where I give you helpful tips and tricks on all sorts of systems and rent to rent news. I also give you updates on what I'm doing in my business. So if you want to stay connected, then also you can subscribe to that. Subscribe and like this video if you found it good and you found it useful. Please also feel free to share this if you think somebody out there needs to hear it. And if you need help with your systems, with your 90-day planning, with your rent to rent, I'm your guy. I can help you any which way you like. So reach out to me, and if I can help you, I will help you. Okay, I'll see you all in the next video. You'll take care, and bye for now.